Summary of Doesn't Hurt to Ask by Trey Gowdy. Do you know what it is you are trying to persuade someone of? Have you studied it thoroughly, examined every aspect of it, and cross-examined it in your own mind? In 1650, Oliver Cromwell, imploring the General Assembly of the Church of Scotland to step away from their pledge of allegiance to the Royalist cause, said, "I beseech you in the bowels of Christ, think it possible that you may be mistaken." In other words, consider the remote possibility you may be wrong. The question is, are you open to something you have not already thought of? Don't we have to be willing to do what we are asking others to do, which is to be persuadable? Trey Gowdy, Doesn't Hurt to Ask. Persuasion is a challenge, a real challenge. It is not easy to persuade anyone, including yourself. Think about it. How easy would it be to change your mind about something that matters to you? Trey Gowdy is a former prosecutor and former member of Congress. And he is honest about the difficult task of trying to persuade people in Congress. And he has written a book that I found useful and enjoyable to read. People hold incomplete or incorrect or harmful or dangerous ideas and viewpoints. Learning how to persuade is how we help people move forward in their own lives, and in our own. Learning to ask questions is a key element in our efforts to persuade. Why you should read this book, there is simple 3 reasons. Reason number 1, this book is filled with stories from some very specific arenas of persuasion, the courts, the Congress, and life itself. Reason number 2, this book lays out the steps in the process of persuasion. It is a thorough tutorial. Reason number 3, this book reminds us that we need to engage in self-persuasion before we seek to persuade others. Summary point of book is: Number 1, the most effective persuaders listen as much as they talk. The most effective persuaders ask as many questions as they answer. Asking questions in the right way and at the right time may well prove to be the most effective tool you have. Number 2, I left the courtroom because the questions were better than the answers. I left Congress because the questions never matter in politics. Almost everyone in Washington, D.C., already has his or her mind made up. I do not recall a single person's mind ever being changed during a committee or floor debate during the 8 years I was in Congress. Number 3, while I may be a cynic, much of persuasion is about idealism. It's about open-minded people who can have meaningful dialogue about what it is they truly care about. Number 4, and that should be our objective in persuasion, striving to communicate and to move those with whom we are interacting. To move someone from a yes to a no. To move someone to a maybe. To move someone to see our side. To move someone to get a new angle and new perspective. To move them to feel what you feel, to see what you see, to think what you think. Move them to do what's worthy, what's good, and what's right. Move them to hire you, to give you a chance, to give you more responsibility. Move someone to take a chance on your idea. Move someone to invest as much in what you are trying to do as you have invested. Number 5, the minute you make a false declarative, you lose credibility with the person with whom you are talking or whoever might be listening. Number 6, there are so few things I fully understand. Number 7, the person you end up persuading may wind up being yourself, and sometimes that is the toughest jury of all. Number 8, debating is science. Persuasion is art. Number 9, first I ask myself, what do I know? Then, how do I know it? Last, what are the limits of my knowledge? Number 10, learn how people think. Learn what motivates them. Learn what moves them. Learn what inspires them. Learn what scares them. Learn where they are. How they got there. And what it would take for them to move to something or somewhere else. What do people want? What do they crave? Where do they derive meaning and worth? Juries are a collection of jurors. Number 11, there is a reason I begin many sentences with "Are you open to?" No one considers herself or himself to be closed. So of course they want to be open. The burden of persuasion to get me to consider something or be open to something is much lower than getting me to accept or participate in something. That is true with most of us. Number 12. What happens when we are insulted is that we become simultaneously defensive and aggressive. In every congressional hearing I participated in, there was something I really hoped did not come up. I believe in having a plan, and I doubly believe in having a plan for the worst-case scenario. What is your plan? Number 13. Silence is the greatest attention grabber in the world. Number 14. When you are talking to a large group, remember that they are not listening as a large group, but fundamentally people hear on an individual level. Key takeaways. The best way to persuade anyone about pretty much anything is to ask questions. Don't state facts, ask questions that let people figure things out for themselves. There's no point trying to persuade someone else of anything until you ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish here, and how will you measure success first?